Hi, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is Hiseerie. We grew up watching paranormal investigators like Zach Bagans on Ghost Adventures, Ryan and Shane on BuzzFeed Unsolved and Ghost Files, and Sam and Colby on YouTube. The semi-casual investigations, people just trying to connect with those who are no longer around, or something we just can't understand, and diving deep into true crime cases. All throughout history, different cultures have believed in the paranormal. Divine gods, spirits, aliens, shaman, and witchcraft, just to name a few. Supernatural occurrences are reported all over the world and have become ingrained into pop culture. Since the beginning of humanity, people have been questioning the bigger picture of existence. What's really out there? Aliens? Ghosts? Bigfoot? Well, we wanted to try it ourselves in our own backyard. So come with us and explore the paranormal and macabre side of the great Midwest.
Tonight, we are in Villisca, Iowa, exploring the amazing Villisca Axe Murder House.
Welcome to part 2 of our investigation of the Villisca Axe Murder House. In the last episode, we covered the history of the home and the gruesome murders which occurred here.
We began our investigation downstairs, and we received very little communication in the living room, so we ended up spending most of our time in the guest room. From the very little communication we received through the spirit box, it kind of gave us the impression that the main spirit we were speaking with wasn't a big fan of our technology.
So we switched to using a pendulum, a new tool for us, and from there on out, we've got pretty clear communication from who we believe to be Sarah Moore.
In this episode, our investigation started upstairs, in the attic and the kids' room. Later, we'll have to cover some things that happened off of camera.
We were also originally planning to stay the night, but as the investigation progressed, we had to change the plans. Before any of that, though, we had the opportunity to sit down with Kelly Matson, a tour guide for the Villisca Axe Murder House, and learn more about the paranormal history of the property.
So you get your typical footsteps, tugging on the shirt. I've had an actual EMF reader ripped out of my hand, and that was pretty crazy. I talked with my hands, and I thought I threw it, but the group I was with, the lady was like, "Oh, it looked like somebody just pulled on a string and pulled it out of your hand," and I was like, I was done. And then I've seen like a shadow figure. I was upstairs in the middle of a tour, and it just like all of a sudden I felt like somebody walked up behind me, and like I got this feeling of like I was scared, and I looked out of the corner of my eye, and it was like this 7-foot shadow figure, and I just had to like kind of push it through and keep going on the tour. Nobody else saw it, so I wasn't gonna say anything. So some of the key spirits are probably the family. Like, it's a lot of childlike stuff. Like I said, you'll get tugging on shirts. I know there's the kid that likes to hide under the bed and pull on the ankles, just for fun. And sometimes you do get like stern if you don't ask permission. You'll get something that's like, hey, like, behave. And it feels more like father or mother. My favorite spot to investigate is the children's room, but I also like to just sit in there and like I'll read a story with some kind of equipment to see if it will go off. There's also like we'll play like little games like jacks and stuff, just kind of entertain the kids. And I won't go in the attic because that's where I feel like the dark spirit normally resides. I definitely believe there's something dark here. Some days it's you walk into the house and it just feels like you're not supposed to be there. Sometimes this house has a way to like mentally manipulate you and you don't feel good. You're angry for no reason. And some days it's crazy. Some days I don't even like being in the house.
What we're about to do, it's called the Estes method. I honestly don't know if I expect much this time around just because of how the spirit box went downstairs. But I'm curious, new location, new vibes, new energy. So we'll try it out, see what happens. Tools of the trade. Spirit box. scans radio frequencies for spirits to communicate through the white noise and words. Estes method. Uses a spirit box, then one investigator wears an eye mask and headphones while the other investigator asks questions to help eliminate bias.
Who's playing with the flashlight?
It's like, I can hear stuff, I just can't make any of it out.
Can you speak a little clearer? We need one person at a time to speak.
Something another.
Is it the kids that would like to speak with us this time? I could hear that.
Touch something? What could you hear?
Static went crazy, and it sounded like...
Something like touched, like...
Oh, I didn't feel or hear anything
I
like
felt
that.
something move my foot, and then the thing got loud. And you can do this. I'm actually, it's like, it's weird. Like,
You said you can do this, and the flashlight shut off.
Oh. It was like, it sounded like I could hear like a man, but like I couldn't make out what the man was saying, but I could hear a man. Okay. Sorry y'all, I could not understand you well enough, and Ryan is not ready.
I don't know what that was. Sounded like a woman.
Hopefully he'll have a better time understanding you. Okay, so if you'd like to speak to us, you can speak through Ryan.
The spirit's gotta.
Okay, so the light just turned on when he said that. So
Welcome back.
Are you talking about from earlier today? I don't think any of us have been here before.
Can you?
Can we come back? Do you want us to come back? I don't really know if we're talking to anyone. If we're talking to someone, could you give us a clear sign? Like either a sentence or, the way that light just like flashed
Another
off.
special.
Oh.
Serving all the...
Are we doing
Then
your
there was
Sarah
a few
again?
others, but I couldn't understand.
Sarah, are you trying to talk to us through the spirit box?
Join me. I said join.
Join who? Can you tell us who you are before we join you? Or if we decide? All of the Moore family? Wait, sorry, so who...
And tonight, it will be clear out.
Maybe we will be getting that hotel. Could you tell me who you are, please?
Is someone touching the floor right now? Because I just felt what felt like something from underneath. 2 hits.
For the camera? No.
That was us.
Are y'all the kids? Are the kids in here with us?
You heard about it?
Is that why it's so hard to understand you? Because you're all talking over each other? I know it's hard to wait your turn. Could you tap under Ryan's hand again for me?
So, like, that was a lie? We were sent?
Did Sarah send you here to talk to us? Did your mom tell you to come over here?
Body of Christ.
Are you talking about the Reverend?
Sounded like I said, I'm inside.
Are you saying that the Reverend sent you here? I would just like a clear answer on who y'all are.
It was easy to drive in on him.
Well, I just would...
Sounded like I said, be quiet.
Oh, shut up.
I went overboard.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I would really love to know who I'm speaking to. Are you...
It was difficult.
Is this the Reverend, or is this the Reverend's partner? I really need a...
Sounded like I said, it was the young ones.
Are you saying that... You know... I appreciate you trying, but I really need some more clear communication.
They had to go. They're not the only ones.
Okay, theoretically, if this is the Reverend or the Reverend's partner that we're talking to, did you wait up here for the family to go to sleep?
They are causing...
Who's they? I know it's difficult, but I need clear answers.
When I'm going to... He's looking at us.
Who's looking at us?
Not anyone.
Is it something is looking at us?
The energy's increasing.
The negative energy, is it increasing in here?
They had to pay for all of it.
All of what?
You were expecting. It was very... like a lot of power behind it. I was in here.
Okay, so now you're answering my questions. So you were in here and you waited for the family to go to sleep?
3 to 7?
Were you in here for 3 to 7?
Sounded like it said confess to greatness.
Want to confess to your crimes?
Listen to me.
We'll listen to you, but if you confess to your crimes and you don't tell us who you are, then you're not confessing to greatness, you're confessing to nothing. No one knows what you did because no one knows who you are. Here, I'm gonna count to 7. And if I get to 7 and you don't say anything specific to get me to stop.
Stop, please.
Okay. I didn't
Wait.
Okay.
There's a wall there. It's cold.
Okay. I'm gonna pull Ryan out on the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always feel bad doing this. Yeah, he reacts way better than I do.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. 3 times.
You can go back in.
You moved.
We'll beep it out.
Go in, take her.
Take her. Okay. I'm sorry, I wasn't getting clear.
Not anymore.
Okay, so we definitely are talking to someone, but could you please tell us who you are, who's all there?
Nobody something here.
Well, obviously someone is here. And you said you wanted to confess to your greatness.
The age of 7?
Oh, I don't know the kids' ages off the top of my head. Are we talking to the 7-year-old kid? More
Do
kid?
whatever you want.
Are you who Sarah was talking about earlier?
The children.
You're the children?
He killed us.
Oh. Who's he? Do you know who hurt you?
Sound like for you? It's having us? Please? The one?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're trying to tell us.
Happened to me?
Trying to tell us what happened to you? You tell us. Are you one of the killers, or
Keep
are
moving.
okay, or are you the kids?
Let's get this chess game started.
You seem like you get off on the fact
Sound like
that no
it-
one
is
knows
that
who you
him?
are. I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing. But I do want to pull Ryan out. So if you can give me clear responses, then I'll leave him in. But I need clear responses, or I'm going to take him out again. And if you yell at him to go back in, we're going to have some words. Okay.
You don't know.
I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. I'm wondering and I want to know.
Now you do.
I don't.
You could have watched it too.
I'm gonna pull Ryan out. because Oh my gosh, please. You just what? Give me a full sentence.
I can't find it.
You can't find the words on the
It
radio?
sounded like a woman crying, saying, I can't find it.
What can't you find? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Turning?
Sorry.
I heard two strangers up here. Want to play? Honestly, this is like the first time I've done it without feeling really sick afterwards. But a lot of voices came through. Yeah, seriously.
Party.
I'm trying to think of. I heard a lot of male. Like, some of it was female.
It sounded like women in panic and then men when I was
Some of
on
them. Some sounded like they could have been kids, but like the majority sounded like a man coming through. But it was like a kid that said, "Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop." Like, it was weird. It was very weird.
So as we went through the investigation, we kept on getting the same answer that the house was safe to be at until you went to sleep. And as soon as you were asleep, that was when negative energy had more impact. And myself and the videographer, as the night went on, started to notice that Ryan wasn't really himself. And Ryan really didn't want to leave that night. The videographer put his foot down pretty clearly that he would not be willing to stay the night, and I was on his side for this. And then we'll talk about Ryan's experience.
And they wouldn't leave me alone either. They wouldn't let me stay the night by myself. I don't really know when my anger started. Honestly, slowly progressed into a point where I no longer felt like myself. I wasn't necessarily taunting a spirit, but I did tell him, if you want credit for what you do, don't you want to be, if you're so proud, tell me your name type deal, which I guess could be seen as a little bit of a taunt. And after that, everything just kind of downhill. I had a hard time controlling my own emotions. Anger definitely took the better of me. But instead of acting out, I just chose to close down. I didn't speak to anyone, and if I did, it was one-word answers. Didn't want to look anyone in the eyes as soon as they talked about taking me out of this house. I've never felt this way, nor do I ever want to feel this way again. It was very scary having no control over your emotions.
Yeah, we could definitely tell, but there's just like, we couldn't do anything other than give into it. And there's something about when you're at like a spiritual location, when it wants you to stay, it's normally not a good thing, I would say.
Yeah, especially with the reputation of this place.
Yeah, like there's places that you go and you want to go back, but it's like kind of the feeling of that you had like a familiarity with the spirits there, like a weird friendship type of thing, but there's like a certain like draw to them. It's the same way as like when you go to someone's house and you're like, oh, I want to go back and see them again. But that was very much a forceful, you need to stay.
Mm-hmm. Something definitely tried to overtake me. And I will say it's a good thing I didn't know the door code, because I would have driven back 100% and left them at the hotel. I was not in a good state of mind.
So needless to say, we did leave. Yeah, there's definitely a noticeable shift. And even when we got back from visiting this location, we had people in our lives tell us that we looked awful, very drained.
I think I was asked more than 10 times if I was okay when we came back. I assumed I was the same as any other trip we've taken. Looked at them dumbfoundedly, like, yeah, why wouldn't I be? And it wasn't until our next trip we were about to take, someone looked at me and went, no, you looked half dead when you came back. Like, you were not okay. So, something definitely happened.
The other big thing that happened there was right before we had left for the night, there's a barn on property a little bit of ways with the bathroom and some museum pieces for the property. And we were just using the bathroom before the little bit of a drive to the hotel. And, well,
I got to experience more.
so the one thing to know before we go into this story is that one of the key things about the Villisca Axe murder site and any associated murder sites around the area is that the killer went through and covered every victim, every window, and every mirror with some type of fabric taken from the house. Now, this is only important because there is only one mirror on property that is not covered to this day, which is in that little bathroom.
Yep. And honestly, I don't think we put that together until after we came back. Mm-mm. It was my turn to use the bathroom, and the first thing, as soon as I shut the door, I heard a woman's voice. I thought it was Mickey because everyone was outside. So I walked outside and I went, What do you want? And she looked at me like I was crazy. And then asked me what I was talking about. Told her I'd heard a woman's voice, and you're the only woman here, you're the only woman around. It's like 1 a.m. Like, it can't be anyone else. She looked at me like I was crazy again. So I walked back into the bathroom, and I heard the woman's voice again. And it sounded the same, but if it wasn't Mickey before, probably wasn't Mickey that time. And I'll just find out afterwards. So I was washing my hands, and I happened to just kind of look at how tired I was, looking at my eyes really close into that mirror, and the next thing I knew, I was catching myself falling backwards, about to faint. No idea what happened. I got really weak in the knees after that. I don't know if I ran outside of the bathroom because I couldn't, but I walked right to Mickey and I fell on the ground, like just
literally
laid out on the sidewalk or the driveway.
I don't think you even made it there. I'm pretty sure you lay down in the grass.
Yeah. Needless to say, I couldn't walk 100 feet to these guys.
That house did not want him to leave.
Yeah, there was something there. Something definitely affected me. I don't know which one bothered me more, not having control of my emotions or feeling like something was not necessarily taking me over, but again, controlling me in a way that I did not care for, and I hope never happens to me again.
Oh, 100% yes. I believe in the paranormal, and I have for a very long time. And I also believe that working here, you kind of like have to believe in something because there's really no explanation to some of the things that happens here.
Thank you for watching this episode of Hiseerie. If you enjoyed and want to see more like behind-the-scenes content and full uncut sessions, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Hiseerie.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe below.